We've just experienced a once-in-a-century pandemic that led to one of the worst public health crises and one of the worst economic crises since the Great Depression. Over 500,000 people in our state filed for unemployment. Over 8,000 individuals tragically lost their lives. And as of yesterday, over 330,000 individuals were infected with COVID-19. This pandemic has been devastating for so many in our state and across our country. But undoubtedly, the data shows that this pandemic has had an unjust and disproportionate impact on communities of color, on low-income communities, and on minority communities. Black and Hispanic people in Connecticut are twice as likely to contract COVID-19 and are being hospitalized at twice the rate of whites. Black people are 2.5 times more likely to die from this pandemic than whites. And for our Latinx community, the death rate is 67% higher than it is for whites. With respect to economic inequities, the unemployment rate among our Latinx community and communities of color spiked in 2020, such that it was nearly 17% for Black people, 18.9% for our Latinx community, compared to 14% for whites. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the unemployment rate among our Latinx community in Connecticut was the 4th highest in the nation. These statistics highlight the unjust and disproportionate impact that this pandemic has had. And in many ways, it exacerbated the racial inequities that already existed in so many sectors of our society. The purpose of this bill today is to analyze the data, to examine what went wrong, and to look at the lessons learned for how we can be doing a better job to prepare for future pandemics. Because the number one job we have as legislators is to protect the public welfare of our residents, to stand up for vulnerable communities, to be a voice for the marginalized, and to create a more just and equal society. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to pass this bill. I want to thank the Majority Leader and his office for their leadership on this legislation. I want to thank the Commerce Committee for their support for this legislation.